Hi, I'm Penny from Swn Y Coed in southwest Wales. I live on a one planet development smallholding. 80 or 90% of my food that I eat is grown on my land by myself. I was brought up in Suffolk and it was really flat there, and I just really yearned for hills, so I ended up coming very young to Wales and living in a community, and I just love the wildness and the open countryside. Okay, so this is, at Swn Y Coed we call this our no-dig garden. This is where it all started. I went on a course and got really inspired with the no-dig garden, and I got really inspired with his compost bays, so I replicated them here. We had our no-dig beds running down the hill, but it was quite problematic getting wheelbarrows and working at the compost heap. So this winter we spun it all this way, and so it looks quite empty because we've moved all the soil, but it just works at ease getting back and forth to the compost heaps. We heard about the One Planet development scheme in Wales 12 years ago. At the time we heard about the OPD, is what it's called. We had children and we thought it would be a really difficult thing to do with our kids, so we waited until they were grown up and left home. In 2016 we bought the land and applied for planning permission. It wasn't an easy thing to do, and luckily, as we worked in a group of another 3 other families, so there's 4 of us all together, we applied for the planning permission together and took on the massive task of writing a management plan and our business plans and our permaculture designs and everything that it takes to do an OPD, which is quite a lot. When we first submitted our planning application, we were turned down and we had to go to appeal. We did go to appeal with Carmarthenshire County Council and we won the appeal. So yeah, if I was doing it all again and thinking about doing the OPD, I would really find my niche in what I'm growing and how I'm going to sell that, and also I would do it with other people. I wouldn't launch into doing an OPD on my own. I mean, we would have never got through the planning process without my neighbours' help. And then in the process, we're in year 5 last year, so yesterday I spent a very long wet day doing my monitoring report. And it might seem like doing an OPD is really living the dream. It is living the dream, but it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of monitoring, it's a lot of receipts, it is a lot of hard work. But saying that, the positive sides to OPD is you have a different sort of abundance. You don't have an abundance in money, it's quite a peasant lifestyle, but you have the abundance of beautiful food, living in the open countryside, and just that sort of consciousness that you are trying to make your difference in the world with living off-grid and being more gentle on the earth. And what will be going in here, I'm not sure really. I'd have to go back to my crop plans, but I think courgettes and roots and spinach will be in here. I'm really looking forward to gardening in here this year. We got our planning permission and we started building a house. In the original application, we had put in plans to build a straw bale house. We were lucky enough to be offered a kit house, a log cabin, so we decided to go with that option. I'm really glad we did, because we managed to build our house in a year. It was a slog, but it's a lot easier to put up a wooden house than do a straw bale house with all the lime render. So we were a bit ahead of all our neighbours because the ease of building our house. We then put up our polytunnels, we got our water in and our internet, and so in year 1 we focused on building our home, and then year 2 we started with the growing. Originally our business plans were strawberries and squashes and forest school and musical instruments, but as we progressed into our site we changed our plans. So now my businesses, salads, which I'm picking now, vegetables, a little box scheme, and we grow a lot of garlic. The garlic works really well because there isn't much homegrown garlic in Wales. Most of our garlic comes from China or America. So garlic is our main sort of land-based income. I do a lot of education, so I changed my forest school to more about camps and teaching young people resilience, so still working with young people. But in COVID, we really sort of realised that what we needed to do is support young people in learning how to grow their own food and give them resilient skills in how they live with their mental health and nature connection. So that inspired us to run our first camp in building resilience. It went down really well, and now we're continuing to work with mainly young people, teaching them growing skills and green woodworking skills and just living gently on the land as we do. This part of the garden is like a little microclimate. It's quite sheltered because we've got the pollies and we've got the hedge and we've got the compost, and so it's like really warm and sunny here. My plans for 2022 is I'm going to keep growing abundant, highly nutritional veg for my community. After the success of running camps in 2021, we've got 4 camps booked over the summer, so that's really exciting. The camps will teach young people resilient skills such as growing veg, making compost, green woodworking, fermentation, gut health, soil health, and we do a lot of stuff on health and well-being, sort of mental health things, nature connection, and my colleague Melissa Holloway does the Joanna Macy work that reconnects. When we host our camps, people come and stay here on my plot. The way we've designed our plot is we've left big flat space for people care, so people come and camp there. We put up a marquee and we have cooks so that we can teach and people are fed lovely food. And we also have another space at the top. We have a roundhouse for teaching, and we have a fire circle up there, so we have music and singing and things in the evenings. I had a raspberry bed down here, they're all toppling over. So last winter we moved the raspberries. Then I did a crop of potatoes and the young people on a camp harvested. Then in July I put this real seed wintering kale, and it's just provided for us since July, and it's just stood here all winter and we're still eating it. I would say that 80 or 90% of my food that I eat is grown on my land by myself. I buy rice and lentils and things like that, but I obtain a yield and I capture and store energy. I basically make ferments. I've got a cold store with all my veg that's fermented, and it sees us through. We don't really have that much of a hunger gap because of the way we grow and the way we store our food. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I grow for the community. I grow salads and seasonal veg to the local veg shop. I am now starting to grow my veg for the local restaurant up the road. I sell food in Carmarthen to the health food shops and the Carmarthen food, and I also give my gluts to the food bank in Whitland, and also drop some of my food to the solidarity boxes of Glasbren. So at Swn Y Coed, the way it all looks so beautiful, I know it looks quite bare at the moment, but the way it's so abundant is, I think it's down to the soil health and our compost heaps. I am quite religious about the way I make my compost. I don't just lob it all in. I layer it carefully or mix it carefully. I do a lot of green, brown, rock dust, muck, and I just make these lush heaps. I mean, this hasn't been turned yet. Look how wonderful it is. You know, it's nearly ready to go. I keep it covered. I do turn them when they need. This one hasn't been turned. These ones have. And I've just always got that one's on the go, so at the moment it's green. So yeah, whatever goes onto the compost heap, the way I do it, is I make sure I chop it all up, because then I find that it doesn't take so long to rot down. Even when I'm harvesting kale stalks for my garden, you know, or big brassica stalks, I won't just put them on the compost. I'll chop them up like so. So this is sort of like my green layer. So now I'll put my brown on. This is sawdust from the local sawmill. I get it for free, so I just pop a layer of this on, and then when I've done the brown, then I'll chuck some rock dust on it, and then I'll go and get some muck, and then I'll start again. I don't just put anything on it. I don't put a lot of veggie peelings in it because I feel like it attracts rats. I put my shells on it, I chop it all up, but I don't put docks on there or nettles. I just have a different pile for that for when I make big inoculated compost, so that I know they're going to get really, really hot in the summer. But in the winter, when it's all trotting along quite low heat, I'm just careful. I also have, last year did community days where I had loads of blackcurrants and invited local families to come and pick fruit, and I'll be doing that again. And local people can come and help themselves to apples. And yeah, so I'm very lucky to do the OPD and be in this situation, and I'd like to share my abundance as much as I can with my local community. We're not open to the public every day. We have official open days with the OPD. So the OPD, we have an open week where other One Planet developments open their doors for 1 week, and people can come and see what we're up to and get an idea of how it all works. And then when I do my community days also, it's a booking only, and if anyone wants to come and visit, do drop an email and just check in before, don't just turn up. That'd be really cool.